Welcome to part two. For those of you that like sports, we've got another channel, Pokers International. Feel free to go and have a look at it. All right, we're joined by Terry for part two. How are you doing, Terry?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
All right, Sky Sports dates. There's another little rumor around the campfire that it's coming to an end for that young Ben Shalom. Do you think that them dates would be better shared out if they gave, say, 5 promoters 4 slots each, but on a strength of they give them the first slot and they give us what we want? And you know what, like an audition kind of thing. You know, like when I was at Dennis's and they used to, the office staff would be like trying to get slots on platforms, but they're like pilot episodes, them kind of things. Do you think that you should give the promoters a chance? You know, like Carl Greaves, Steffi Bulls, Joe Gallagher's, Pat Barrett's, you know, all them sort of guys. Just give him a slot on Sky and let's see them all perform for it. Let's make it performance related. Do you think that's a good idea, Terry?
So this is really complicated. Does Sky really want to start again? That would be my question. Like, you've got Ben Shalom. If you get rid of Ben, who do you put instead of Ben? Do you know what I mean? Boxes are a hard thing to make sense of. And I think Sky kind of got spoiled by Eddie Hearn, and they didn't realize how good a deal they had with Hearn for a while.
Yeah.
And so for me, I say you keep Ben Shalom. You give Ben probably 9 dates a year. And then you find another, let's say another 7 or 8 dates. And you parcel those off to guys like Carl Greaves. And then that becomes your feeder into the Sky and Boxer shows. That's how I would do it personally. Because look, DAZN are doing that now, right? So everyone's on DAZN. Matchroom's on there. I imagine when the BT deal's done, Queensbury will be on there. And then you've got Izzy, obviously, with GBM. You've got the guy out of Essex. There's a TM14 guy, Johnny, whatever his name is. So he's going to get a show on DAZN. DAZN are doing what you're suggesting. They're giving opportunities to promoters.
Yeah.
But it's not
Sky
quite
should have
Sky.
done years ago, though, shouldn't they, really? We were banging on about that in 2014, though, weren't we? You know what I mean?
The problem, but who's going to cover the production costs?
Well, this is the problem, you see, with it, because I remember, obviously, Dennis had Free Sports, but they used to get invoiced for all production, and I was like, wow, is that how much it is? It's big boy business, isn't it? You want to start playing at that end of the table. So the shows have got to be bang on. You can't put a load of pony on and then be throwing 10, 15 grand at production, can you?
Yeah, but remember, it's Sky. So I think for Sky, you're looking closer to 50K for production, maybe 30.
45 grand, isn't it? Yeah. Well, it depends how many cameras you're putting up. If you want to do it on cheap, you can do it for 45, can't you? But the Wembley Stadium one's massive because they've got all them, it's like fishing lines all over the place, isn't it? For whatever. It depends how much you want to throw at it, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's all those things are factored in, because I think all DAZN are doing is being a carrier for these small hall guys. They're basically saying, look, you make the show, you sell the tickets, you record it, we'll put it on DAZN. We'll just stream it on our platform.
Yeah. We've not really heard much from anybody about this Olympic stuff. I know you've said your bit, but I'm disappointed with Buncey, because Buncey's not said anything on Olympics, has he? About he's not really gone in on any of this, men as women and all that. And what's your take on it all, Terry? These men dressing up as women and knocking women about.
Okay, so first and foremost, the 2 ladies that won gold medals, born women, birth certificates say women. I'm not qualified to talk about the science of it. So my argument will always be, people smarter than me have looked into this and decided this is how it's going to be, and I have no problem with that. Now, when people talk about it's dangerous, we've had a whole Olympic boxing tournament, right? Where was the danger?
Yeah.
There was no danger. These weren't power punching monsters, right? So who was the young lady? Khalif, not Khalifi. So Iman Khalif won all of her things on decision, apart from the Italian who just bottled it and decided to cry for attention, which is whatever, right? And then the Chinese lady, who won at 57. So she didn't knock anyone out. So in this situation, where was the danger? That's my question. There wasn't any.
So why all the
You-
media right then?
Pardon?
Why are they all going on about it in media? Is it just deflecting off everyday stories?
Here's what happened was, when the tournament kicked off, someone said, "Oh, these women were banned by the IBA because apparently they were men." Right? This is what happened. Like that story leaks out. Some people think it was the IBA that leaked it out, and then what you had was every idiot in boxing just went with it, and it's the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in the sport of boxing, when they were talking so disrespectfully about the situation with no knowledge. Remember, like, boxing full of people with no GCSEs, and they're really trying to grasp complex ideas, like, you know, how things can deviate from XX and XY. And there are loads of ways, man. Like when they break down the possible gender combinations and what they could mean, it took me a day to get my head around it. So my question then became, is anyone unsafe from boxing with these women? And the answer was no. They weren't Superman. Look, between them, they must have had 70 odd bouts, if not more. There are 5 knockouts or 5 stoppages, not even knockouts, there are 5 stoppages in that whole record. So where's the danger?
Yeah, but
People just want, I said, people just want to be upset. I think we're just in this kind of summer. Like I said, Russ, since the pandemic, we've just been a bit odd. Like, I think we're a bit more sensitive. We want to be angry about things. And we're almost like lashing out now because we were lied to about many things during the pandemic. And we realized that, you know, what we were being told wasn't true. And we're just lashing out at anything now. We just don't want to believe anything, Russ. That's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm like that. You know what? I got you know all the stories, but when I always go on about this time, when I was with Big Ron, people used to come out in that office. You've been there yourself, haven't you? And oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. I just used to go, I don't believe it. I don't believe anything. I don't believe anything I'm fucking told in this sport. I just don't believe anything. Now you've got certain people's lawyers getting in touch with me and saying, look, my client categorically denies that he's not his mate, this certain person. I don't want to say who it is anyway, but I think we know. And then you see him years later, all pals and all that once it's blown over. Con men, charlatans, vagabonds, liars, off with their heads. I don't believe half the shit I'm told in boxing, and that's managers, trainers, or 99% of it, promoters, fighters. It's just a cesspit of shit, a shit conveyor belt. That's all it is, mate. But nobody's allowed to say how. So I look. That's how I look at it. How are you doing, mate? All right, got a meeting now in Isleworth with Sky. It don't mean shit. Because you're going and having lunch with Mr. Bean when he were riding out at Sky. Where's your Sky dates? It's shit for the sake of talking shit. It is, isn't it? I called it after 1 week, but other around like 6 years, like a fucking bad smell. I seen whiting on wall after 1 week, but well, nobody tells truth, do they? What?
No, it's boxing for you.
Criminal to that. You've got more honour amongst thieves than in boxing.
Nah, no, you don't. No, you don't. If every police informant was revealed to the public, yeah, people would stop doing crime tomorrow.
Because they all work in boxing.
No, well. There are definitely some informants in boxing. Yeah.
Well, there's people with YouTube channels getting full access, and they've got stripes on shoulder. Remember it?
Well.
What's going on?
Yeah, but hey, your friends talk to them. So
listen, let them all talk to them. I don't talk to them. I know, I've seen it. I've seen people I know who've been at Nick on that channel. Yeah. And I'm like, wow.
I don't trust anyone that feels comfortable talking to the police. And and look, I don't know Gully from Boxing Kid. I don't know him personally, but
PC
there's only so much talking I can do to the police before I'm like, this guy's probably trying to probe for information. I'm too paranoid.
Well, there's certain gyms he won't go to. But if you're going to get access, look, people want to get out there and get the Sensic mix. Every time I turn that channel on, all I see is Flex or Big Malcolm X on there.
Oh yeah.
Regulars, aren't they?
Hold on. You don't see anyone else on there?
I've seen Peter Fury on there. I've seen. I don't know if Frotch has been on there. I'm not sure. I don't think he'd go on there. I've seen a few other people who I thought, you know, what you're doing on there. I've seen Mark Tibbs on there. I went, Mark, are you all right? You were like, oh. You see, they've got fighters, haven't they? Look, they all have to play the game at these media events. So it's not up to me to say who you talk to, but let's have it right. When it all comes to an end, because police with press passers, inbox.
So I'll give you.
It's a problem.
I'll give you my theory. No, Russ. I'll give you my theory on all of this. That's a cover story. The sabbatical cover story. The Boxing King media. It's all a cover story, and what they've done is they've gone, look, a lot of dodgy stuff is moving through boxing. There's probably a lot of dirty money moving through boxing. So we're now letting you know that we're watching you. Yeah, that's the message I took from that. We are watching you.
Kid. That's what.
Yeah, and not only that, but if you want to know who our soldiers and lieutenants are, just see who's getting interviewed. And I said, okay, cool, fine.
It's the same old people doing the same old interviews in like a merry-go-round. That's what this is. Old Bill running around with cameras and access. Come down and see me, Gully. You're only up at road up here, aren't you, from me, son? Come and see me. You plenty rattle? Plenty. Come down here. Knock on the door.
But don't be mad at him because he's just doing his job.
I'll have a knock on car park with him. I've seen him. He's just a fact. I'll have a knock on Parker. I think he was surrounded on car park here with me. Me and him. In 11.5 stone and the shape I'm in. I'd destroy him, Terry. I'm ready. I'm ready. We don't come down. Wait. Conor Benn, Terry, what's happening? Is he serving a silent ban? Him and Dylan White, yes or no? People in the mainstream media are whispering that he is. What do we think? Nobody's asking questions, are they?
So I think he is. I think I've said it on this channel before. Yeah. He will fight in March 2025.
Yeah,
that's when you're going to see Conor Benn.
Same for Dylan White.
Yeah, March 2025 is when you're going to see the fight, and by then Conor will be a full-fledged middleweight, and he'll fight Eubank Jr.
And they'll cash in that way and get their poke out at the job that way, won't they?
Yeah.
Do you think it's a shame how it's gone for Conor Benn? Because he's got to be raging parked up on it.
He took the wrong advice.
Yeah.
Just took the wrong advice.
And he's 28 next month, so he's not getting any younger, is he?
So think about it. We would have been... So it's about 2 years since he failed the first test.
2 year, 1 month since the first test, and it's 23 months since the second, both for clomiphene.
Yeah. So you've lost 2 of your peak years.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
just for being dumb.
A couple of fights, hasn't he, out there in Vegas, hasn't he, or America or something, in Florida.
But they're not real fights, though, are they? They're not like, Conor.
Well, one Florida, one Vegas for it. I think.
Yeah, but like
all job.
Like in the back room of a pub, sort of thing, though.
Some Mexican bar.
Yeah.
Do you see Conor Benn actually doing all at welterweight, or do you? Because he's like number 5 ranked, isn't he, on box record in the world for welterweight? Calling them.
He'll box at middleweight, and then he'll come down to 154. That'll be Conor Benn's career.
Yeah. You know what I'd like to see him in with? Fitzy. But Fitzy can't seem to get it together, can he?
Oh, no, his career's done.
He's done,
his career's done.
Shame, isn't it, really? His career's ended and he's undefeated. You couldn't make it up, could you?
Yeah, life defeated him.
Life defeated him, yeah, that beard he was with. Unbelievable. Women weak in legs.
No, they don't. Here's one thing I've learned in life, Russ. People know who the victims are. They know how to find victims. And see, a lot of people see boxers, right? They see them fighting, and they assume that they're these really strong, resilient people. A lot of boxers aren't. That's why boxers don't keep their money, because they're gullible and they're vulnerable people that don't realize they need protecting from themselves. And Scott Fitzgerald is one of them. Didn't realize he needed protecting from himself.
Yeah, but for Scott at that young age now, he's not fought, has he, since he was 28 or something? He's still undefeated. He had a world ranking. He's just wasted it all away, hasn't he?
Mate, he was in London during the pandemic, Russ, right?
Yeah.
Just on a mad one. And you know when, because I know people in boxing who saw him and they were trying to explain to him, mate, this is London. You can't act the fool here. It's, it could be the end for you. He didn't care, mate. He was just he's one of those guys who was just hell-bent on self-destruction.
Well, they used to go out, over that end, right, where he's from. They used to go out, and they go out at dinner time. He'd do his training and that. He'd go out, and if he had so much as half a lager, that was it. He'd just go out, that bit for 2 days. I just think it's a shame, really. It's just a waste, isn't it? It's a waste.
No, but how far would he have gone? We'll never know.
Well, we're never going to know now, are we? Because whatever he tries to do now, he's missed his peak years, hasn't he? Really.
He hasn't really developed none of that, man. If in this position, just go and do something else.
Mm-hmm. What do you think to Beefy Smith against Josh Kelly, Terry?
Strange fight, but I guess it's a good name for Josh to take, if he can take it.
You think if Beefy gets beat, that's him out of game?
Mate, do you see how big he was at the presser?
Massive, wasn't
he?
Yeah. Eubank in him, he's not calling for that third fight. It looks like Eubank's not going to want a game with him again, is he?
No, that doesn't need him. Bigger and better things now. Deal with Conor Benn, then Canelo, then call it a day, I guess.
Do you think it's Conor Benn and then Canelo for him, or Canelo, Conor Benn? I think Canelo before Conor Benn, because if Conor Benn does it, the Canelo fight's not there, is it?
Conor Benn would have been out of the ring for a year. He can't possibly do Chris Eubank Jr.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you reckon they're paying Eubank to sit on the fence or sit on the bench?
Yeah. I do, yeah, a lot of that goes on. Just because he's still got his ranking, hasn't he, you see?
Yeah. So
when these fighters, Terry, have these rankings, there's loads of them, right, who'll get paid step aside money, but it never comes out. Every now and then, step aside money leaks out, but it's very rare we hear it. Doesn't it? Billy Joe got 100 grand, didn't he, to step aside from, was it Kid Chocolate? Remember him, Quillen? Billy got 100 grand for that. I don't know what everybody's cut out of that one, but I remember 100 grand being passed about for that, and I know that Tyson Fury had some step aside back in the day. I don't know which organisation it were, but there's a lot of that were going on for years now. But they don't always tell you. See where I'm coming from? So I won't put it past Eubank having step aside because he got a really high ranking, or he's had an high ranking, hasn't
he? Yeah, and they basically said,
pardon?
Yeah, they basically said, look, it wouldn't be fair if Eubank can fight 3 times before he fights Conor Benn. So why not just have Eubank sat on the bench as well? And then when they fight, there's no excuses.
Yeah. Yeah, but he needs to get a move on, doesn't he, Christopher Eubank Jr., because he doesn't seem to be going anywhere, does he, at the moment?
Well, no, there you go. He's being paid to chill.
Your man, Isaac Chamberlain. What's happening with him, Terry, and Dan Aziz?
So I did an episode on this, and I think there's a real problem in South London, just boxing-wise, where we're just miles off it. And I don't mean that in terms of graft and ability. I mean, just in terms of putting fights together, in terms of how we go about winning stuff. We're just not with it. I thought Isaac did well against Jack Massey. And if you look at the fight, the number of attacking opportunities Isaac had was probably the same amount as Jack did. The difference was when Jack was in zone, he let 2 shots go, 3 shots go, 4 shots go. Isaac was just relying on single shots, which is like, I call it the South London disease, this idea that you can be economical with your punches and win. Yeah. Well, you can if you knock people out. Yeah, like Riakporhe can because he can knock people out. But if you're not knocking people out, you've got to outwork them. And I thought Isaac brought a lot of the Mikel Lawal game plan to a Jack Massey fight, which if I was advising Isaac, I probably wouldn't have done. But
Yeah.
you know, these things happen and you learn from it. And I think what you'll see with Isaac now is he'll probably take some time away and just work out, what do I need to do better? You know, like him and I message, and I keep telling him, it's all about doing more. It's about just doing what you do now, but at a higher level. Like, don't do more because you're just going to break down. And I think that's one of the challenges. In terms of Dan, I just thought he had a really rough comeback fight. That guy was kryptonite for Dan. He would have given anyone at light heavy a horrible night's work.
Yeah.
Just tough, busy, combination puncher, had a real intelligence about the combinations that he threw. Like he knew what he was doing in there. And like if you're coming off a defeat, you'd probably want an easier touch than that.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think Isaac's not going to go away now and get a world title shot? Do you think he's sort of found his level, Euro level?
No, I think you get no. Depending on who's got the belts. You know, so no, I think Cruz is his division. I think he'll be all right. Let's say Billum Smith is tied up, right? That would leave guys like Opataya. Who else has got a belt? I'm sure one of the Eastern Europeans has a belt. So there are belts that Isaac could win. I think Opataya is a hard night for anyone unless you really have a good handle on southpaws.
Yeah.
Isaac versus Billum Smith. I think the rematch. Well, we enjoyed the first fight, so I wouldn't be against the rematch. So I think he's still in that mix, but he'll need a significant win soon.
Yeah. No, yeah, he will. Yeah, he needs to get back. You think he'll stay with Mick Hennessy?
Yeah. Mick really looks out for him. Yeah. Mick really advocates for Isaac. So
he did well for him, hasn't he? Really did well for Isaac, didn't he, Mick?
Yeah, stay loyal. Like Isaac gets along with the whole Hennessy family. Like it's a strong bond.
I like Mick Hennessy. He's all right. He gets a bit of stick because he doesn't do interview after interview like Bricktop and Eddie Hills, does he? But just because he's not social media friendly, let me say he doesn't know what he's doing, does it? He's there at that Haringey Cup every year, and he sat on front row. Do you know what I mean? Looking for new talent. So
yeah, he's always had that gift. He doesn't miss when he picks talent.
Yeah. So 2 seconds because Kevin's leaving. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. We'll see you tomorrow. All right, see you tomorrow. I don't mind it when I'm left on my own and that. He's bought a lad, Johnny. He's got his brother doing all air cons, so he's got to go around and check on all that. Like some people have all.
Really?
Oh, I forgot his horse. Hang on a second. 2 seconds. Hey, what, Kevin? What was that horse called that won A-Dog? For that, right? For that. You know what's on that down? 13 grand winnings. 13 grand. It's marvellous, isn't it? They only fucking win, don't they, when I don't back them? You know what I mean? Unbelievable.
That's not a lot though for looking after a horse. That's not
13 grand winnings. So I goes, oh, 13 grand, but it costs fortunes just to get them to race, doesn't it?
Exactly.
So it's not that much in it by the time you messed about. It must be 4 bags just to get them into the race. Then you've got to get them ready to race, haven't you? So people keep saying, oh, but it's loaded. They do all right, don't they, with horse racing? But listen, if you don't win, it's a bottomless pit, isn't it?
Yeah, you bankrupt yourself trying to mess around with these sorts of things. Yeah, not for me.
It's called Bidet, that horse that's won anyway. But I've never seen it live. I'm not into horse shit. No, all it looks to me like all it is a load of people with Range Rovers and barbacoats talking a load of shit in wellies. It is. I've been down to them stables. Not for me that. Plus, when I go down, I'm always in white trainers, aren't I? I'm like them in Snatch, aren't I? With carrier bags on trainers. But okay, Savannah MMA, Tom Aspinall. I know it's not boxing, but I like Savannah and I like Tom Aspinall. Do you see Tom reigning at MMA and do you see Savannah staying? doing MMA, yes or no?
Tom has to beat John Jones. I don't know if he beats John Jones. That would be the only thing I'd say. I think.
Not going to fight, were they?
Well, it would always leave a question mark over John's career if he didn't.
Yeah.
And then if Pereira goes up to heavy, that would be interesting as well. But like I watch Aspinall, like he's good for MMA, but you could never see him boxing. Never.
He has boxed as a pro, and he had one fight as a pro under Peter.
Mate, based on what I've seen in the octagon, I wouldn't. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, stick to MMA. That's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that disrespectfully.
He's done that since he was 5-year-old, hasn't he? Because his dad's an instructor, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he's been doing
so
it since he was 5, Tommy. Only since he was a baby, practically, isn't it?
Yeah, so he's got good fight instincts and he's got good speed. I love the fact that he's quick. Savannah took it up really, really late. So she's got to learn how to wrestle. She's got to learn how to kick and take kicks. Do you know what I mean? And if she can just get a really good takedown defense so she keeps the fight on her feet, I think she's a problem for most people because she could probably knock out most women MMA fighters.
Yeah, she can punch Savannah, but my own personal opinion is, I know we're a debut and that, but she was like a fish out of water, wasn't she, really? That's what I think. I know nobody else is going to say that, because they don't. I thought you were like a fish out of water, Savannah, and I'm your pal. But, you're new to the game, so you'll get better, won't you? It's just like having your debut as a pro boxer, isn't it? That's all.
Yeah.
Everybody expected to go in there and just smash that girl quickly, but it's a different discipline, isn't it? Oh,
yeah.
Pick it up. She picks things up quick. But okay. Before we finish off, Turkey trying to get in and get all these commissions and that. It looks like he's blown a bit of steam off that, and it's harder than what you think working with boxing people. Do you think, Terry, that he might have made a mistake at the very beginning, just paying too much, and now people are in a position where they're just plucking numbers out of the sky, managers and stuff like that for the fighters? Do you think that's why I've got a little bit of a stalemate?
So he's never paid too much.
I think
that's what people, for which fights?
Fury got massively paid more, didn't he? And who said than they would have got in UK? He had 7, not with Turkey, but he did have 70 odd million for Ruiz rematch. There's money out there in Saudi, isn't there?
Nah, a lot of those numbers are massively inflated.
You think?
So if you look at, let's say they'd done the undisputed fight in the UK and they'd done it at Wembley, right? You're probably taking in, let's say about 3 million at the gate from Wembley. Probably more, maybe closer to 5. And then you got your pay-per-view, and everyone's going to buy the pay-per-view. You're probably dealing with a pot of about 70 million quid anyway. And then when you split it between them, it's probably about 10 grand less. It's probably about 10 mil less each than they got from Turkey. So it's not like they're paying ridiculous amounts of money. It's
paying more, aren't they, though? They're paying more.
Yeah. They're paying a premium on top, but it's a marginal premium. So it's not like they're not doubling people's pay, apart from the undercard guys who were getting really good money.
Well, what about Derek saying he wants 10 million to go out there, though?
Well, they're not going to pay Derek 10 million.
What's he going to get, do you think? 2 or something? 2 or 3?
He won't get $1 million.
Don't you think he'll get that?
No. For what? Derek's of no value to them.
Well, he's 41 and he's talking like Scooby-Doo. Why is he even getting a license?
Wait, he didn't do too bad against Joyce.
No, he didn't. But Joyce and him were a combined age of 80. Old men, aren't they? Do you feel, Terry, that Joyce, because he's got 103 rounds on the clock, he's going to be the shortest career in boxing to, 103 rounds, British Commonwealth European champion, WBO interim, and he's all washed up after 103 rounds. How can that be?
I don't even know if he's washed up because he doesn't have a lot of mileage on him, like you said.
Well, no, he had 103 rounds, isn't a lot of miles, but he's like,
But he was like that in the beginning.
Yeah, I know. I mean, there's hope for Max, isn't there? I keep saying to Max, you're 22 stone, and you're slow and you're ponderous, but Joe Joyce made a career out of it.
Yeah, but I always look at it from this perspective. Joe was always going to be the same Joe from start to end, right? He was never going to change his style because no one could get him to change his style, and it was effective. All that happened to him is he happened to meet the one guy who was bigger than him and could punch harder than him.
Yeah.
And Zhang did him twice. There are loads of other people Joe could still steamroller.
Yeah.
And as long as he can find those fights and they're commercially viable, he'll have a career.
Yeah. I agree. Is there anything you want to add, Terry? A shout out to anybody?
No, I just want to talk about it's time that McCracken stepped down.
Yeah, I know this was coming. It's not worked out well for Olympic boxing team, has it?
So I don't know how much of the Olympics you watched, Russ, but
Not much.
for about 4 years, I've been telling people that this Olympic cycle is about finding unicorns and teaching them how to get through the tournament, right? Now, I think there were 7 men's weight classes. Uzbekistan won 5, right? And the other one was won by a Ukrainian lad, and I can't remember who won the 7th, right? But essentially, you were looking at guys who could really move, who could put punches together. The technical requirements of Olympic boxing have gone up a lot. GB never adapted to that.
Yeah.
And that's on McCracken's watch. And we haven't adapted to anything for a long time. We've been using the same coaches since 2012. We've been using the same tactics since 2012. So what are we getting for our 15 million over an Olympic cycle? We're getting nothing. We got Lewis Richardson, who's a good kid, but he's been in that system 7-8 years. Yeah. You should be good at the Olympics by that point. So for me, I'd be happy if McCracken resigned at the end of the month and said, I've taken this as far as I can. Get rid of him and Woodall. I think boxing's moved past them. And it happens to everyone, right? Like, there's a point when your ideas just aren't modern anymore. And I think McCracken's hit that point.
He's had a good do up there, Robert. Only 15 years. Come on. Longer, isn't it? Longer, isn't it? When did Terry Edwards go? Christmas 08? Or was it January 09? He's been up there over 15 years, Robert. So he'll have had it off up there. They've been on a good salary in a car and all free gratis. And Joshua on the side as well, and Froch. He's not done bad, has he?
But yes, for amateur boxing, like we're in a mess now where kids don't want to go there. So kids don't want to go to Sheffield now. And boxing's not on the list for 2028. So what do you do when you've got no Olympic tournament? You know, how are we going to get funded? Our funding is going to go down because we got 1 bronze medal. So the funding will go down. Boxing's not even guaranteed to be at the next Olympics. So that's a mess.
Yeah.
And all of this stuff is happening at a time when boxing everywhere else is thriving. Everyone's kind of figured out the GB model now. So everyone's now spending money on a dedicated facility. But they're doing it differently, Russ. So what GB do is they believe that they can make boxers, right? Whereas all these other countries are just going, give us all your unicorns, give us all the kids who are just brilliant, and then we'll figure out what to do with them when they get here.
Yeah.
Which is a far better system for me.
Yeah, I agree. Okie dokie. Well, listen.
As Porky Russ would say, they all want resigning.
They all got it. Look, I like Robert McCracken. I've known him years, but he's been at the helm of the ship now all that time, and I think it's time for new leadership. I said the same with Robert Smith. He's been 17 years at Border Control. It's in shambles. So why don't you have a look at yourself, Robert Smith, and give yourself a mark out of 10 for your time at the board? Same with Robert. He'll think, you know what, I did all right until this last Olympics. Maybe I've got to stay and it's time to move on. He's a proud man, Rob. Maybe he'll go. Robert Smith, I think that'll be a different kettle of fish, because they've been having it off for years there, haven't they? At Border Control. And I think that's time for new leadership. I'd like to see somebody like Julian McGowan get that job. Somebody with a bit of integrity, but they're not. It doesn't work like that, does it, in this sport, does it?
Nah, that's an old boys club.
There you go. We know, don't we? Great. I better get some crack. I better get something done. I've got something to do. So I forgot what it is. Oh, tie wraps. I need some tie wraps. I put that on. So And now I can't get it off. Look, it's like being arrested, isn't it? Sheffield tonight. Saturday night, you only sit your next to the pub outside and like, you get done for a threat. Been tie racks and lining them all up. And then they wait for CCTV, don't they? They go, you're okay, you're next.
Yeah, I used to hate that one.
I remember sat there all cuffed up outside that Besemus. This is years ago. I'm thinking, God, another affray here. I'm looking down. Anyway, I didn't get picked. And I'm like, because I started it. You know what I'm like when I'm out there, I'm a nuisance. Hey, I'll see you again. I think I've got Max coming on this week. I think Burns is coming back. Remember him, Chris Burns?
Yeah.
From Chorley. He usually comes back. He's a character. I think we've got Mikey coming on from West Brom. Kent,
You know what?
Kent's back, yeah. Well,
You can't get Julian on to talk about the Olympics.
no, he don't want to talk about it. He watches the channel, I think, every now and then, but he's not bothered about boxing, is he? If he wants to come back on, he'll come back. I don't think he will. Look, some people they just think, do you know what? It's a joke, innit? And then Julian will probably watch that and he'll be like, this is why. I can imagine him saying to their lass, this is why I don't go on channel no more. Because it's just shambles, wasn't it? So,
Yeah,
okay. Anyway, I'm going to have these now.
What is that?
Creatine tablets. Scott Brunt got me taking it, didn't I? But I'll take him in tablets now. Train on these. Oh, I'm high as a kite. I pretend that it's the other crush them down through my drink. Oh, I'm like, aren't they?
Madman.
Right. Listen, you take care. Love you, pal.
Take care, pal.
See you, mate. Bye.
All right, mate. Take care.
Well, that was Terry. Women loving, men want to be him. For those of you that like our other channel, Pokies International, jump over there, like and subscribe, and leave a comment. That's about it. Welcome Estates. Go have a look at their website. If you like villas, they've got a scheme for help boxers. I think it's 12 quid a year, £1 a month to help boxers. And nobody's interested. Boxing people just take, don't they? Start putting something back in, vagabonds. Go on, peace out. Thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. It's nice when they're getting close. You know why I do that? So you can see me teeth. Pop, pop, bang.